Okay, yes, hello everyone. I'm Ezekiel Kuhoga, and this is Talent Mindset Coaching. As I introduced in the social media on the videos that I produced, is that today we are hearing from Johanna Pantsar. Johanna Pantsar, as I mentioned in the video which I released very recently, she is not only a coach and a mentor to individuals. She is mentoring the businesses. I've been seeing her posts on social media. So she knows both sides, about both sides. She knows all the sides of job seekers. She knows all the sides of businesses. And not only that, she has also mentored and coached the foreign talents here. We spoke before and she mentioned to me these things, and I thought that it has to be some point where other talents can get to hear some insight from you, because I believe most of the struggle that we are going on through right now is job seekers, especially foreign talents who are highly skilled, highly talented, but we cannot find jobs. Of course, we can easily blame on the Finnish government who doesn't want to give us job, or the employers can easily say, the problem is that you don't speak Finnish language. But I believe there are many other factors in between which are not always discussed. And when we start to understand these things, they will help us to take decisions on the things that we are perhaps ignoring for a long time. I come to realize there are many things that we have been ignoring, and because no one says it's the problem, we go to another employer and still do the same things again. And of course the employer, they don't give you back the feedback. I don't know, for whatever the reason. We're going to hear from you some of the reasons. Yeah, but we need to hear more. So that's why I said I should invite Johanna Pantsar. And the good thing is Johanna Pantsar has committed not just one session. We have many other sessions to come, so stay tuned. You have a lot to learn from Johanna. Maybe if you can greet us very briefly.
Yeah, very quickly, my name is Johanna Pantsar. I'm an entrepreneur, but I used to work in a corporate in HR director position. I've hired people to North Savo from 46 different countries. So there's some background.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, but presentation is supposed to start at 2 o'clock, so we have about 20 minutes, though it doesn't have to start at 2 o'clock. We can start earlier because we don't have a lot to discuss. Though I wanted us to have like a pre-discussion so that we get the concept and the different context of what we can talk about here. Yeah, maybe Johanna, you have some questions you might want to ask us. I will sit there trying to figure out my technical.
Well, the questions are sort of built in the presentation, so maybe we will have to wait a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay. If that's the case, then maybe I can try to establish the discussion. Now, for you, my friends on TikTok, I will have to read your questions a little bit later. Now I have to put my phone a little bit far from me. So later on, I will read your questions, and we will have also another discussion after the presentation. Yeah, but now we have one member of the audience here, only one member, yes, and maybe we can use her for discussion. And I need to give you the mic so that even from this far we can still be able to hear from you. You don't need even to touch it. Let's just put it here. Yeah, so you don't have to answer in a very personal way. You can answer very general, yes, but we need just to get the picture. According to what you have been hearing around, why do you think, first of all, do you think maybe this unemployment challenge is only on foreigners, or is it a problem like for everyone?
I think it is the problem for everyone who has been just looking for a job here. I think most of the people said that job market is very tough here in Finland. I have seen in many social media videos also.
Yeah.
Most of the people after finish their studies, they are looking for a job. It might take more than a year or nearly 5 years. They are waiting to get a job here.
That's very true. That's very true. why do you think is the problem? Or according to what you have heard, why do you think it's very hard for foreigners to get jobs here?
I think it according to the field they are looking for their job. Somebody need working in IT. Somebody needs to working in a private sector. If the person who has experience in IT sector, he or she might not have enough experience. So it might be the one of the reasons for the reasons depends upon the person's requirements.
Mm-hmm.
It not only the person's requirement, also the organization's requirements.
Yeah.
Sometimes the organization need experienced person. They doesn't want to train a newcomer.
Okay.
The thing is, they really doesn't need to train a new persons to develop their company. Every organization thought is to improve their company.
Okay. And
They doesn't have much time to give a training to a newcomer.
okay. You have mentioned many of the reasons which I would say they are not always discussed with respect to job seeking, especially from for a foreign talent perspective. One of the most common topic I would say it's the language, Finnish language. Now I've heard you are speaking pretty well. Maybe not fluently, but obviously better than I do. Yes, so taking into account your language skill at this moment, do you think it still affects your likelihood, getting a job? Or does it affect you negatively? Maybe they would say you're not speaking fluently enough now to give you a job.
No, I didn't feel like that because as I said before, it's according to the places you are working for. If you want to work in a school, the school children doesn't speak fluent English.
Yes.
In that place, you should speak Finnish.
Fantastic. Yes.
So that's not the only problem. If you want to work in IT sector, I think it doesn't need Finnish language. The IT people are international. If you need to work in an international environment, everyone speak English. That places you doesn't need Finnish language.
Okay.
But it is better to. It is very good to study Finnish because you have to communicate. You have to know the culture. You have to know the education system of the people. You should study Finnish.
I really love how you contextualize this topic. Yeah, you have mentioned different places and showed the need of language, not because it's the criteria to join that place, but because language is needed in that environment. I think that's one of the very, very important things to understand, because from the outside, most of the people, the way they receive this is that language is only like a gate. Like I just can't get in because I have to pass this gate, but it doesn't matter after I get in. So that's the one perspective, and I think I even made one video yesterday, and I said, one of the problem is that maybe we are finding it very hard to understand Finnish language. It's because Finnish language is now our enemy. In this context, is our enemy subconsciously in this context. Like when you come here and then people say, you can't get a job because you don't speak Finnish language. Then I'm like, so I could have gotten a job if it wasn't for Finnish language. So now Finnish language is my enemy because it stands in my way of success. I have all the talents, I have all the education, but Finnish language stops me. And so these thoughts, they are going on subconsciously, not consciously. They are going on within your system. So at the end of the day, anything that you treat it as an enemy, it doesn't matter the gesture. if your enemy gives you a glass of water, you will never treat it as kindness. In fact, you may never drink that water. You'll be like, what is in this water? He wants me dead. But in the very same gesture, if your friend gives you water, you'll be like, he is very kind. So when you treat now this Finnish language as your enemy, as the objection towards your success, you start to resist it like subconsciously. You resist it. And at the end of the day, you find yourself in a position where you have to put maybe an effort even 10 times more than the effort that you could have put if you had the different mindset. So I've been advising people, like, it is true, in some environment really needs Finnish language skill, like you said, and daycare, you have to speak to the children, they can speak back in English. If you want to do a sales job, you have to speak Finnish because most of the customers, they speak Finnish. If you want to do marketing, if you want to do customer service, maybe at the desk here, not every customer will speak English. So if you understand that environment, it's okay, but we have to reach a point of saying, you know what, I need this language because I want to connect to the people. Because once you connect, you integrate, then it contributes to your general livelihood, not just getting a job. Yeah, but apart from that, your need of embracing a different culture. And I've been giving also this example to some people, like, how would you feel, or how do you always feel when you are in your home country, and then one day you meet a foreigner, and he's speaking your language. Maybe he's struggling, not so much good, but he speaks. Always it feels very good. Very few people, they can say, why is he speaking our language? They will be scared. But majority of people, they will be happy and proud and say, you see, our language is being spoken by a foreigner. So if you can feel that good in your home country, why should it be different here? Yeah. So also other things, they feel proud when they say, and I've realized most of the people, they would not even want you to be that fluent, just showing that you are trying to connect. Then they're like, did you hear him? He's speaking Finnish. And then that can be an eye opener, can be a door opener to get into the Finnish economy. So that was very, very much important point about the language. Like, we just need to change the attitude. But there are many factors. I think Johanna is going to discuss them in these topics. Language is also embedded in here. Yeah, I would say maybe for me that's all. As the pre-talk, maybe now we can give you a flow.
Yeah, maybe I can sort of continue with your pre-talk because it's really interesting what you said about the industry. And one observation about Finnish work culture is that we have many foreigners who work in healthcare industry.
Yes.
And that is something that by law you have to know Finnish to work in there.
Yes.
But you can actually quite quickly learn the basics and the necessary language to work in there. So in my opinion, if an IT company says that you can't work here because you have a broken Finnish or you don't know enough Finnish, then they should look at the healthcare sector where there are actually people working, foreigners working there with not sufficient or not like fluent Finnish skills.
And actually, just adding there, I have now not just seen, I know people who have been hired in nursing. They had a very poor Finnish skill, very poor. But for some reason, maybe you will say the factors, they managed to get into the system. And then after getting into the system, it took maybe 3 months or 4 months. If you go and hear them again, they are not the same. They now speak more fluently, they can hear. So it's fantastic. That's a very important factor.
Language skills develop if you use the language.
Yes.
Like every other skill.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, maybe I should now let you proceed with the presentation. I will try now to switch the TikTok because now I'm using my phone. I had some problems with my laptop, so I will try to do some switching. If you're on TikTok following this and you will see me disconnecting, don't worry. Stick around and connect again. So please proceed.
Yeah, so topic this afternoon is hidden job market and power of networking. I already briefly introduced myself, but maybe I will do it again, as I don't know if everybody heard it. So my name is Johanna Pantsar. My company's name is Bestla Consulting. I'm an executive coach by training. It's a university degree of coaching. And well, I'm also a board member and group and team coach, and I mentor voluntarily a lot of international people here who want to get into the Finnish community and working life. I have HR experience for approximately 20 years, and I've been in leadership and leadership development for 10 years. I've now been an entrepreneur for about 1.5 years. And what I do with my company is that I help companies hire international people. I help with the cultural differences. I help with the relocation processes. So when a company wants to hire someone who is already or who is in another country for the whole official process to get them in, but also companies who want to hire internationals who are already in Finland. I also do HR and I do coaching, and I train a lot, like management training, for example. I used to work in pharmaceutical industry in international cooperation, many roles. My last employment was in Switzerland. And I have hired a lot of international people in Kuopio from 46 different countries. But what do we mean when we talk about hidden job markets? And the first activating question here is that what do you think is the biggest barrier for job seekers in accessing these hidden jobs? Any opinions?
I will stay behind the camera here so that if there are any opinions from here, I can also mention. But for me to start, I would say, anyway, now I've already moved and talked to a lot of entrepreneurs. I've talked to a lot of employers, a lot of officers, and I've realized that what I understood 5 years ago is different. I also understood that Finnish language is the main barrier for getting a job here in Finland, as it is being said. Yeah, but now I've realized that there are many other very, very small factors which maybe they don't really count in discussions, but they count when it comes to recruiters. Yeah, maybe just to mention an example is that I would say the stereotype. Yes, and some stereotypes, they are of course based on some just histories, but some stereotypes are based on experience. An employer has, for example, an employer has engaged with maybe me coming from Tanzania, and I behaved in a particular way which he didn't like. After that, that employer is very likely to avoid all people of my type, unless someone does his best to prove otherwise, to neutralize that stereotype. Yeah.
That's a really interesting point, because if we talk about, and this is what I talk about a lot with the companies that I work with, that you stereotype people who come outside Finland, but do you also stereotype Finnish people? If you have a bad experience with one Finnish employee, do you automatically think all Finnish employees are not good? Usually the answer is no. On Wednesday I was training about the topic of companies, about how cultural diversity brings competitive advantages to companies on Varkaus. And I think I found out there, or the emphasis was there, that they actually need skilled people. Maybe not in this market situation, but they all acknowledge that we have a shortage of talent, or we will have in Finland. But then there are things or conceptions that it's too difficult to hire international people. There's the fear of their own language skills if they have to speak Finnish and English to the person. Or there is our prejudice.
Yes.
Or then there's just fear of the foreign.
Yes.
Because it might be scary. Well, again a question, how many of you have applied for jobs only through job portals? Or only through job portals? Yeah.
I applied once through job portals from my graduation. I've actually been in Finland now. This is my 9th year, so now I'm almost running into a film. Yeah, but for the first 5 years, I would say maybe first 2 years, I applied only through job portals. It never worked. It never worked. Yeah.
And then you found
Then
hidden jobs.
I started going around to visiting office, talking to them, calling my friends.
Yeah. Okay. So up to 70 or 80% of jobs in Finland are never publicly advertised. So if you are only applying through job portals, it's not very effective strategy. And Work in Finland states that up to 75% of job vacancies aren't advertised, and it's making it challenging for foreigners to find work in Finland if they don't know about the hidden job markets, or what are they and who can they contact. Few sources to support that fact. So what is the hidden job market and why does it exist? Basically, jobs are filled through referrals, internal promotions, or networking before even being posted. Like Ezekiel, you mentioned that when you started networking and being active and visiting companies, then you found success in your job hunt. Usually it saves time and money for the employers. The recruitment processes can be long. There's a person who leaves the job and they have 2 weeks termination time, notice time. They want to find a person who can fill the position in quickly. So they might first want to find from their own networks. Of course, this does not necessarily apply to public sector, because by law, if there's an open vacancy, which is like a permanent employment, they have to put it in open markets. Some companies think that it reduces hiring risks. So if I know the person, or if my friend knows the person, or if I have seen them 5 times in a networking event, I know them somehow, then it's a lower risk of hiring the person. And in a competitive market, companies want to fill in positions quickly. Well, now it's like we discussed, that there are a lot of employment in Finland and unemployed people. If a company opens a position, they might get like 1,000 applicants. So they don't want to go through all that, and then therefore they find the applicants from somewhere else. And one reason is that many companies, small and medium-sized, don't have structured hiring processes. They don't necessarily have an HR who is responsible of the process. So it's just easier. And we do have a small and trust-based labor market. In Finland, there's always a connection with people, because this is so small country. And like everything else is usually based on trust, the labor market is also based on trust. Not always, but it's a good playing card. Has anyone landed a job without applying through portal, and how did it happen?
Yes, I have. Okay, just a second.
Yeah.
Yes, I have got more than one job, actually. I would say all of the jobs I received, it was through that, except one. Of course, my first job I applied and got, because it was needing a lot of people. So I was lucky to just send an application and get. But after that, I never succeeded. All of the jobs I had to be connected by someone who knew the boss. So I was either recommended to a boss and then they called me to an interview, or maybe somebody quit from a particular company and they knew I was looking for a job.
Yeah.
Then they called me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? No. Okay. Where are the hidden jobs? Usually, well, Some of them might be in internal job postings, and it's then of course really difficult to get to see those. So they first look at the internal candidates before advertising externally. I think in public sector, if you have worked, for example, in a school or in daycare, then there is some sort of internal network that if you have previously worked in there, they might have your details and they might connect you if they have open vacancy. And also many companies use their own internal people and they ask recommendations from them as well. So it's worth of networking with people who work in a company that you are interested in, even though their job title wouldn't be recruiting manager or HR or whatever. Recruiters networks. Many jobs are not in open markets because companies want to do it with recruiting consultants or headhunters, of course depending on the position. But also I think worth, if you're not necessarily aiming for higher white collar positions, is to connect with the recruiting companies who rent employees to other companies. You might also want to try, like Ezekiel mentioned, to have direct contact with companies. And if you are talented enough, some companies are willing to create a position for a talented individual. And actually, in my previous organization where I was working as an HR, we did this. If we saw a potential, we created a position because we saw the value in the person and what they could bring to us. And if possible, professional communities and events. I know that after COVID, these are not so popular anymore, but for example, this event would be a great opportunity to come and network with people.
Yes.
You meet people, even though there would be internationals, but they also might have good contacts. And of course, I'm here.
My second job, I didn't get it directly from an employer. I only called those who graduated before me from University of Eastern Finland and told them I'm looking for a job because I wanted to apply for my permit. So someone was working in Mikkeli. That's how I moved to Mikkeli. He was working in Mikkeli in one cleaning company, and he just needed to quit and move to another city. So the boss asked him to look for another person.
Yeah.
So he called me, and that's how I got the job.
Yeah, great example.
Yeah.
Where could you find these events? Maybe you have some industry groups. LinkedIn groups is often a good place to find events and find communities. Of course, LinkedIn is not for every industry. Are you in LinkedIn, by the way?
Yes.
Good.
I do have LinkedIn account.
Yeah.
On my own.
And LinkedIn is a really good tool in Finland for networking. I hear a lot when I mentor internationals, they say that in my country it is not so good, that it's only a place where you promote yourself, but it's an actual really good networking place in Finnish or in Finland. Maybe it's because it's a safe environment for us because we are not maybe so outgoing. Us Finnish.
That's true.
Yeah. Have you tried any of these and what was your experience? Well, you already mentioned.
Yes.
How about you? Have you tried networking or directly contacting companies?
Yes, I did. I did send mail to private organization directly. And sometimes I got a reply from them, sometimes I didn't.
Yeah.
May I ask what about career pages in organizations? In every professional web pages, they do have a career page. They put their vacancies there. I regularly check the particular company. They are posting their vacancies. I did apply for the job. as a regular basis, I got rejected. What about the thing career? May I know the career about more information about career pages about their organizations?
Usually, if it's like a middle-sized organization, they do have a career page, and usually if there are vacancies, and then there usually is a link that you can submit your open application. Then they usually go to a recruitment system, so we talk ATS, application tracking system. If you left or submit an open application, with GDPR regulations, they usually last there, or they can keep them for 6 months unless they say that it's 12 months.
Yeah,
So,
there are some comments also here.
Okay.
For example, for somebody, Lekitis, Lekitis says in Finland, if you don't know language or anyone, then forget about getting a job.
you can get to know people.
That thing. So it's something which you should take an initiative.
Yeah.
And this is a very good point, because now this is like an honest also opinion. Most of my friends who are doing world, they have reached to the point where they have given up. Like men, it needs Finnish language. So they don't do anything else. Even when you tell them, okay, it needs to know people, they say, okay, so I don't know anyone, so I can't get a job. So let me just survive with this, and they don't take initiative. So I really love the way you have put this also into perspective.
Yeah. But usually if you use the job pages, career pages in a company, they go to a recruitment system, they will keep it a certain time. And what I did in my previous job, when I was a recruiter, we did actually, before we did put a vacancy out in the open market, we did check who has left us the open application. So are there any candidates there? So that's a good way to find the hidden jobs as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and also there are 2 comments here on TikTok from Haruska and someone else, and so they say, why would Finland invite people if they know they don't have any jobs for them? So this baffles them. What would you also say about this?
I say that I'm also frustrated in the fact that we do invite people and we do promote our education system, and I think that in some cases we are falsely marketing the job markets in Finland, and I think that's the truth.
That is very true.
And I don't want to sugarcoat it in any way, because
that's
I'm on your side and I think the same, and that is what I try to do with my work. Yeah.
Yes, please continue. I will read any comment also if I see it.
So how to access the hidden job market? I think we have touched based a few things already. Well, existing employees usually hear the new roles first, and maybe if you know the existing employees in a company, you might hear something like Ezekiel you mentioned in your example. But be proactive. Nobody will come and get you from your home, so you have to reach out directly. And I mentioned a person I know from Kuopio who's been here 16 years, and I recently had a discussion with her. She's an international, and I know that she's been like in many employments in Kuopio. And I asked her that what is your secret, and she said that it's being proactive. That she was just everywhere. Every time there was any event, she attended.
Yeah, and actually we were discussing with her, like in the same time while many other people say there are no jobs, we have other people who are being invited to multiple jobs at the same time.
Yeah, they are the hidden jobs.
Yeah.
So you can also, if there's no events available, well, this is an event, you should come here as well.
Yes.
And we have many more of these. But you also use LinkedIn, social media. Maybe the employers are not so active on TikTok,
Yes.
but they certainly are in LinkedIn.
Yes.
Do strategic networking. So again, attend in industry events if they are available, seminars. I know the university and Savonia, they have all sort of things. Also where company representatives are there. You can engage in LinkedIn discussions, so you should be brave there. You should also be active there. So building like the online presence, like setting in here. So optimize your LinkedIn profile. Learn how to do it in Finnish context. There's a lot of resources available on that topic as well. And be there. And maybe, I know it's difficult to even get an internships in Finland. I think the education, the schools should help internationals more in that one as well, but I know they are doing, but it's difficult, yeah. And if you are really brave, you can try and cold outreach to companies. Because there are companies who are hiring, or they are secretly hiring, or they are considering in hiring if they hear that you have a right kind of attitude, potential, competence, skills. What you should consider in Finland specifically. We do value trust and reliability in Finnish companies, and it might need that you don't, it's not a good strategy to expect if I contact like one person, or if I join one event, then I am now networking enough. You have to be there and show your face. And
Yes.
So persistence matters. And I know that you have said that Finns may not respond immediately, and I think I've been also an example in that. It takes time for me sometimes, sometimes to
Yes.
reply, but consistent engagement.
That is true.
Yeah. And you need to be visible. Again, build your presence. And Finnish language is also there, cultural fit. We talked about the stereotypes and that Finnish employers might have a stereotype of a certain culture if they have only met one person and there's a bad experience. So educate yourself. Or I think you know, but it's also good to know a bit more about Finnish culture.
That is very important,
Yeah.
yes.
And even though many companies, I think it's an easy excuse for companies to say that, no, we can't take you because you don't speak fluent Finnish, but it's an easy excuse. It's not really necessary for.
That is also very true, because I've also seen it myself.
Yeah.
And apart from even myself, I was talking to one of the people I'm mentoring, yes, on the Talent Hub, and he mentioned that they went to an interview one day. He had his friend who spoke very good Finnish, according to him. Yes, and he was the first one to enter into the interview, and then they said, if you spoke Finnish language, we could have taken you. So go and work on your Finnish language. Then his friend went in and told them he spoke Finnish. And they said, I'm sorry, we don't have a position for you. So at the end of the day, he knew, okay, Finnish language requirement was only an excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. The power of networking. What does networking mean to you? Do you find it uncomfortable or is it easy? Maybe a question you can ask to yourself.
Maybe we can hear first from her.
Myself, networking is a little uncomfortable for me because I'm an extrovert. I couldn't build suddenly friendship with other people. So for me it's a little bit difficult. But I don't appreciate it. It is the problem for me. I just have to come out of it and have to build my own network to get not only the job, to know the culture of the other country people, to know the other people's thought, what they are thinking about the other things. Yes.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, for me again, I've learned a lot of things in these 9 years in Finland. Yeah, all I came to learn is that networking is not the number of people you meet and talk to. Your network is the people who likely able to extend an opportunity to you, should it be available. Not only to extend an opportunity to you, but also they could ask something from you, value related, not like personal wise. Yeah. So, for example, you don't need to say you're going to a place to just talk to people, so you have to start talking too much. You might go to a place, only show up, find an activity to do, so that people know that, okay, if you want to arrange this table, there is one lady who always comes here and arranges. Maybe they don't talk to you, but they can see what you're doing. And that also improves your network. So maybe some people you might not even know them, but when an opportunity comes, you just realize you receive a call, hey, we are being told that you are very good at this. Please, we have an opportunity for you. And for me, that's a network, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so after I knew this, then that's how I became active, volunteering, showing up to different meetings. And I don't just show up and sit. If there's anything to help, I help. And it has brought up so much result. Now a lot of people, of course, most of the people, they don't call me and promise me jobs, but you can see interest. Yeah, they would check a LinkedIn profile now. A lot of people are checking their profile. Some people, they request meetings just to talk, to hear my thoughts. Though they refrain themselves from promising something which they don't show. Yeah. But you can see they have so much interest to know more.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good observation, that networking in Finland doesn't mean that you go to an event, you do small talk, and you present yourself in a really good way.
Yes.
Because for a Finnish person, if you go there and say that, hi, I'm Ezekiel, and I'm so good at this, and I'm so competent in this, and I have this huge motivation, they will like, okay.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, so you have to be subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the cultural thing you have to understand.
And actually that is very true. I've also heard also testimony from some other people that the moment they started to mention, oh, I'm very good in maybe IT, I want a job. Tomorrow, the same person could be running away from you. When he sees you, he's like, oh my God,
yeah.
She's going to ask me for a job and I don't have any job to give her, so I will be embarrassed. They better run away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think specifically in this Savo region, it's really difficult for people to say no directly. So they actually say that, okay, I will think about it, or
yes.
I will get back to you.
Yes.
And you have to understand that aspect. And I have to share that when I was working in an international corporation, it was really difficult for me to do the small talk before. I just went straight into the business, like Finnish people do.
Yes.
And then people found me really offensive and rude. That I had to learn the cultural context there.
Okay.
For the sort of Middle Europe thing.
I see.
Yeah. And now I'm really good at networking and small talk, so
it's amazing.
So it's a muscle you can train.
That's true.
Yeah. So why does it matter in Finland? We've already touched base this one as well. We have a small and trust-based job market, and direct approach, even if you do it subtle, and building the relationships are key. Show your face 10 times, then you might get to speak about your competency and skills. Again, professional events, meetups, LinkedIn events, industry seminars, trade fairs. I don't know how many trade fairs or employment fairs there are now. There was a time that we had them like 2 or 3 times a year.
I only heard of I think 1 or 2 events when I moved in Kuopio last year. In the beginning, I haven't heard any. After that.
Yeah.
Please, I will go to get you some water.
Okay. But I think all the things that we have here, we have already discussed. And online networking can be a really, really powerful tool. I have many examples where a person was not very active in LinkedIn, for example. Then we built the profiles for them. They learned how to use it. They got into the LinkedIn brains and algorithm. And they maybe did send messages to people, direct messages to people, and ask for a discussion. Not anything else but a discussion. like I'm interested in your work, can we have a short 15-minute discussion? And then they have landed the jobs. So it really actually works. But you should educate yourself how to do it, the online networking. I'm not on TikTok, I'm so old, I'm 44, I don't know how to use it. But there still are Facebook groups that actually are providing jobs in Finland. They are in Finnish, so maybe ask a Finnish friend or someone you know that what are the groups and then join them, because there are part-time jobs in Finland, there are remote jobs in Finland that you can do, and they don't all necessarily need Finnish language skills. Maybe I will tell you my tips when we end this. Where have you networked before and how did it go? Have you networked before?
Yeah, yes. I have been in Compassi, Kuopio.
Yeah.
I met a lot of people who has been first time in Kuopio. I think that is my first network I made today.
Yeah. Where have you, Ezekiel, networked?
Now I'm almost everywhere. I'm almost everywhere. Anyway, for me, maybe I could be the one they say extrovert. Maybe I'm that kind. Though I've never really been interested in extrovert introvert because I don't believe these things exist. Yeah, but I've been almost everywhere. I've visited some Finnish entrepreneurs, cooperatives, for example. And now I even forget the names. Yeah, I've finished like 3 Finnish entrepreneurs cooperatives. I think 4 of them. Yeah, talk to them during their events. Yeah, for example, like Hapanostamo, yes, and also now there are 3 more. I've forgotten the names, but I've been almost everywhere.
And how did you go there? Did they invite you or did you just say that, can I come?
No, most of them I only saw on Facebook. They had an event and then I went there. Only one I was given a tip by a friend. Actually, he came here and then he heard the discussions that I was making and he said, man, you've got to come to this event. So I went and it was spectacular. I met with that cooperative, many Finnish entrepreneurs also discussing their challenges, and this also helped me a lot to see the other side of the wall. Yeah, because as foreigners, most of the time we have this illusion like, okay, Finnish economy should be like this, Finnish businesses should be like this. But when you start to understand also their struggle, then you understand clearly what's going on and how to position yourself. Yeah.
What would you feel like doing next or trying next? How would you like to try to network? Or people on online TikTok?
Well, someone says I have rather harsh accent in English. I don't quite. Okay, they are discussing. There are many comments here. Some people say in Lapland they need English rather than Finnish.
True.
And someone has also advised other people to go to the churches that they can find jobs there easily, which is very true as well. Because I've also went to. I don't know what's the name of this church. I just went. Yes, and I realized they have so well-built live streaming system, but they have no people to do that. So one person has to handle the lights, has to handle the cameras, has to handle the audio. So sometimes the speaker has already moved somewhere else, the camera, they are taking on the wrong things. And I said, I just want to go and help. Yeah, and then I did one time and they said, you are really doing this professionally. Again, they don't want to promise quickly any job, but you can see the way they appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah. Good example. How about you? How would you network?
Sorry, I couldn't get nothing at this moment.
Okay, that's fine. So we talked about how to build a strong online presence. So how actually do it? The LinkedIn is best if we talk about in work context. So educate yourself how to actually do it, how to use it in Finland, how to approach people, and then follow up. Don't leave them hanging, but of course in a moderate way. So don't bomb them with 10 messages, but if they don't reply in your 3 messages, then you move on.
Yes.
Yeah. And a question, how does your LinkedIn profile or presence reflect your professional identity now? Is it in good shape? How do you think? What do you think?
No, your presence of in LinkedIn profile is very important for the recruiters who has an ideal person to work with. I think it is important.
And is your LinkedIn profile perfect?
I do have.
Okay, good.
I would say thanks to you. You remember we had a session about this. After that, I checked my profile. It was really terrible. So I had to start working on it.
Yeah.
It's not there yet, but at least now I've been able to update most of the things. I didn't have those description under the name. Now I have I can speak, interpret others. I didn't have those.
Yeah.
So if somebody was just watching my profile, they could not tell what I'm doing.
Yeah, and it's a good exercise to look at your own profile with the eyes of a recruiter. What do you want them to see from there?
Yes.
What is your core thing that you want to sell yourself with? Yeah. People always ask me how to connect with people on LinkedIn. That do I have to know the person? No, do it with very low threshold.
Yes.
Just according to the list. So people you meet, people who you used to work with, or study with, or people you find interesting, or who talk about interesting topics, or work in interesting companies. So no big thresholds. And again, think of one person in your field who could be a valuable contact and how could you approach them. Networking mistakes to avoid, being too passive, so just collecting connections in LinkedIn, for example, or going to the events but not talking to anyone, it's being passive. Or being too aggressive, like we talked. We are sort of slow people to get to know, to us Finns.
And I don't think it's just about Finns, because even when it comes to me, after I started to be this active, a lot of people have been asking for my contacts. Of course, I gave them my contacts. And then the next point is that after exchanging the contacts, then they will tell me, please tell us if there is an event. Can you tell me if there's an event? And then I have maybe about 100 contacts now. And because of so much activity, it is even hard to remember those people. So I can only remember them after they come back to me and say, hey, is there anything going on? I'm like, oh sorry, there was an event yesterday, I forgot. So unless you, the person, become active following this, the calendars, if there's anything announced, and then you have to add it on your calendar so that no one has to tell you that, hey, please come today, there is a session. Yeah, it's going to be difficult. But not because I don't care about them, but I just forget.
Yeah.
And I've realized it's the same also for many employers. They could be really interested in you and they'll say, please come back next month. But you would be waiting for the email. Okay, he told me to come back. Maybe he will text me. Then you can wait like 10 years.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And it's your you have to own your process. You have to take the thing in your own hands and move forward. And that's what I say to my mentees many times for the mentoring process as well. That I'm not the leader in here. This is your process.
Yes.
You need to be active in building it. So don't wait for people to give you opportunities. You have to make the opportunities.
That is
even
true.
Though you come from you are not in the same line as Finnish people.
Yes.
But you can maybe move forward to the same line. Well, action plan and takeaways. So hidden job markets, you might need referrals, you might need contacts, you need trust, you need to be proactive. And networking is actually building long-term relationships, not instant results. Small actions can lead to big opportunities.
Yes.
And maybe a challenge for all of you to try So in the next 7 days, connect with 5 new professionals on LinkedIn and reach out to at least one person for an informational chat. So just ask, how did they land in their job, for example?
Yes. I wish people would have asked me how I connected with Johanna. I did that. Yeah,
I can't even remember. Well, how did it happen?
Roham had posted, he was looking for a job.
Yeah.
And you had put a post there. You had commented that you have this insight and you were willing to help him if he needed your help.
Yeah.
Yes, and I saw I also need this kind of help. So I said I'm going to reach out, and I reached out to you.
Yeah. Good example. Additional resources, what you might want to look at. There's really good guides in the first link. There's actually also 350 workplaces that hire people who don't have to know Finnish. So English-speaking workplaces in Finland on the first link. There's other guides as well. Then there's a report of discover secrets of Finland, hidden job markets, work in Finland, also tips and guides. And then work in Finland, open jobs. That's not maybe so, there's something there as well, but it's dependable of the companies if they remember to put the jobs in there. But the first one is a really good tool, use that. People who you might want to follow in LinkedIn who actually give really good advice on the LinkedIn presence and how to be there. Lydia Salo, she is the one who created the first one. She gives good tips for internationals to find a job. Hope is a storyteller, so how to maybe build your story on LinkedIn. Rosa Hiltunen, she's a Kuopio person, Kuopio-based person. She gives tips on how to apply for a job. About the CV, her posts are in Finnish, but you can use the translate feature in LinkedIn. And also Annukka Toivonen, the last one, she gives tips on LinkedIn specifically. And my contact details here as well. Please connect with me as well in LinkedIn. I write in Finnish, but you can translate.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. This was very great presentation. Thank you so much. And so next, I think we can now make also like a post talk, based on this conversation, and I will go through the different arguments also put here on TikTok. Let me take a stand so that I can get closer to the table.
Yeah. I want to share your struggle in learning a new language because I'm trying to learn Italian. I will go there next autumn for a long period of time.
Okay.
And I actually got a tip that you should listen as much as you can Italian, even though you don't understand the words of the content.
That is
just
true.
Listen.
That is so true. Yes.
And read out loud, even though you don't understand what you are reading. But just try out the pronunciation.
That is very true.
Yeah. But you are in Finland, so it's so easy to hear Finland and
actually,
maybe watch
it's
TV.
Not.
It is not.
I'm saying it's not because it depends on the personal initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been there. That's why I spent 9 years. But now I'm speaking this for because I was avoiding. Like, okay, now because I don't understand you, I will not sit down and listen. I have to understand first before I start listening. Of course, which is the perspective that is spreading. Like, please master first your Finnish language and then come. Yeah, so I did that time only reading in my car and at home. But at the end of the day, I realized it doesn't work. When I started meeting with people, of course, listening is very frustrating if you can understand. But that's how the ear opens up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started meeting with people. I would struggle. For example, when I was working here as the job trainee, it was frustrating. Every time you hear all the people speaking Finnish, you go at home with headache. But the thing is, now I've reached to the point where if people talk, of course, I may not understand the meaning of words, but I can hear one word from another. Yeah, which you can never reach if you just spend your time away.
Yeah, that's true.
So I will move closer with this so that I can be able to see And how do I do this? I think I have to switch on the